And then we're going to studio mode, bring this across. All right. There we go. Welcome, everybody, to our incredible chat on WandaVision, the end of WandaVision as it is, and obviously a fantastic, wonderful guest, Mr. SamSee, popping you in the chat. How you doing? How's everything going? It looks like you're right here. There we go. Oh, I know. I hope my raid song doesn't play. First of all, if you want to introduce yourself, I think is the most important thing for people who don't know who you are and what you do. I don't want to give the intro. You go right ahead.
I am a stand-up comedian from Singapore who has made the jump over to streaming, and I've been on this for God, how many months now? October, November, December, January, February, about half a year in now.
That's fantastic.
Been on Twitch, yeah.
I mean, how long were you doing? Because I imagine, once things obviously clear up, and obviously, as things get sort of better in Singapore as well as around the world, you're going to go back to doing stand-up and stuff as well, I imagine.
Yeah, no, I just did 2 shows.
Oh, holy shit!
3 shows over the last 2 nights, yeah.
That's fucking incredible.
So, so the thing is that I know in Australia it's a little bit different. Australia, y'all seem to have just been, fuck it, let's just open everything. So, it is! Like, all the comics are like back in the gigs, and I'm like, most of you are fucking idiots, and y'all don't fucking morons.
That is 100% fair. I keep getting, because I haven't done stand up in years, but I still have friends who do stand up and stuff, and so I keep seeing like all of the notifications keep coming up for old rooms, like, we're back, baby, and I'm like, maybe just pump the brakes, motherfucker, like just cool it a little bit. But no, that's fantastic that you're still doing shows. Like, how did you feel about the transition from doing stand up to obviously a more sort of improvised platform, as it were?
I mean, I was apprehensive at first, no doubt about that, but honestly, as I got into it, I've been really loving it. I've been genuinely having a good time on Twitch.
Yeah,
I could not be happier being online streaming all my nonsense to people.
I think that is something that I was kind of concerned, because like a lot I will say a very large portion of comedians that I love, both locally and otherwise, were getting into streaming, and I was like, look, I'm not against it. I think the more the merrier kind of situation. Some people tried it out for like a month or two, and they're like, no. But the people who have been doing great and thriving, I think, have a wider personality that almost doesn't fit into stand-up anymore. I think that there's a lot, especially yourself, you do a whole variety of sort of streams and stuff like that, and I think that your personality goes fantastic with a lot of stuff that's been happening online as well. But first of all, like in terms of WandaVision, are you a big MCU fan? Like in terms of the Marvel Universe stuff?
That's always the problem I feel when you go and talk like people, like, how big of a fan are you of a certain pop culture? It's like, there's a level of, I really like it, and oh my god, I collected Robert Downey Jr.'s hand, I take it to my chest in the shape of the triangle, and I'm like, I just like the stuff, I like the work, I do. I'm not saying I'm not a comic book fan. I'm not extensively researched into the comic book lore of everything, because I have a lot of things I need to do with my day. I do not have the time to research every fucking uncanny bullshit and what ifs. But then in the what if thing, this happened and that color was green and there were 5 green shells in episode 4. I'm like, fuck off.
That is 100% fair. I think we're on the exact same level in the fact that I mean, I liked it, kind of like when it was starting out, because I think it was original. It was something fascinating, building that universe and sort of seeing how that adaptation from comic to films wasn't just like, oh, they're making a movie of blank. They're trying to build a comic book universe, and I was fascinated by that just because of the rights management, knowing about the history of Sony, the history of Fox, like where everything was kind of spread out. But now it's kind of all at Disney.
To Disney.
The mouse owns everything. It's such like a weird situation where I think I saw like an article, like a joke article on like Medium that summed it up pretty well. That was like, it's a fascinating move from Disney to spend $4.5 billion just to get one actor into the MCU, and I'm like, that's kind of what it's like. That's what they did with Evan Peters.
We spent $4.5 billion. What should we do? Let's call him Boner.
All right, before we get into boner alerts, into spoilers, what did you think of the series overall for WandaVision?
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I am always a fan of anything that breaks meta, and this is like, no, it doesn't just break meta, this shatters and destroys meta entirely. And also, a 4.5 billion dick joke is, I will salute Disney for that. It's the most expensive dick joke known to mankind.
I do think about, like, because I think about, like, 3 days before the finale came out, the showrunner, Matt Shackman, had, like, it was almost like a press release, but it was an interview he was doing with Variety, and it was like, I think people are going to be very disappointed with the finale. And I was like, yes, I 100% agree with you. But he was basing that on the fact that there was so much speculation and so much discussion of like, what if they get this cameo in, of like, and how's this going to tie into the multiverse? And I'm like, why don't we just let the story play out? Like, that is like one horrible thing I don't like about the MCU culture is the amount of speculation where it's like, it's kind of fun, just lean back and chill and just be like real cool about it. And I don't think people can do that anymore.
Yeah, no, I think the problem with that is that they're used to, okay, we've got this one big thing coming out, like, you know, every few years, so we can speculate all we want for like that one time in a few years, and then now it's like we can speculate every single week, and they are fulfilling our need, our addiction to predicting people's lives like a bunch of sad mind readers. It's just like a really depressing thing of like, maybe Uatu shows up. Really, you're gonna bring Uatu in at the start of the fucking phase 3?
Oh man,
baseball, sorry, really, we got Uatu just showing up randomly. Good for you. Good. Pulling out kind of bullshit. Moon Knight will show up because it's at night in this.
It all like I like the fun thing about it, and I think that I don't know. I would say that we're on like a level playing field of like our understanding of the MCU. I appreciate the speculation because it's fun, but to believe in it I think is very dangerous. I think that's how you get severely disappointed with shows like this. Like I think that there's a similar feeling that I had when did you watch the Watchmen series that came out I think like a year or two ago for HBO?
I didn't watch it, but I like went through the entire recap of it and sort of like had to understand, and it was like, it's really fun when people are racist against a guy that's blue.
Super easy.
The internet really pointless some days.
It's so much crazy to wake up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna hate this specific fictional thing when there's so much more horrible things happening. But I felt the exact same feeling between Watchmen and WandaVision in the fact that the speculation is fun and it's fun to read into it, but ultimately they have a story that they want to wrap up.
Yeah.
And I think that it's made me appreciative as someone who mocked a lot of people for liking the show Lost for over a decade. It's nice. I understand the feeling of enjoying the journey rather than the destination for these types of shows. How do you feel about the Lost series?
I didn't watch Lost. All I want to see is that like at the end of Multiverse of Madness, just Wanda looks at Doctor Strange and goes, "We have to go back."
just Thor being there and slamming his hand up against a wall, and it says like not Doctor Strange's boat on his hand. There's like
a random polar bear walks in, everyone goes, "Oh, I guess it's fucking." Any animal fucking characters in the MCU? I was gonna say Beast Boy, but it's DC.
That's DC. I was gonna say there's like there's so much like I think that is like in terms of like just general speculation. I think that because this is something we're going to go into, and obviously what WandaVision means for the MCU overall. How did you feel about the finale? Just the last episode.
I think as someone who has just been like, oh, I wish they had some, but I came out of it as a person who likes media and anything. I thought it was a great finale. It was good. It's a bit rushed. They needed 10 more minutes. They were rushing the fuck out of it.
I 100% agree. And it's like, just take the 5 minutes they spent of everybody flying in the air, put a little plot, put a little character, just add a little something in there, add a little bit of pepper.
There's a little bit of, oh, you all know how to use your powers. Okay, I guess there's no discovery. Everyone just knows how to use their powers.
Exactly. There's no, like, they didn't give enough time for Photon. For people who don't know, Monica Rambeau is Photon in sort of the wider MCU. Sorry, hi, Dom. Dom has pointed out, I like how Quicksilver's real name has turned out to be Arthur Penis. That's
Between the moon and Arthur Penis.
But I do like the fact that there was some stuff in there that was like, you guys, like, it felt like, There was like 5 minutes of really bad writing. Like I completely agree with you. It felt rushed. It felt like it's not like it didn't make sense. It's just that it was just kind of like crunched into it, where it's like, okay, what you say?
Point out the fact that most of the end of this had to be filmed during COVID.
That's true. Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that because like when like Darcy does not like debriefs, it's like I'm pretty sure they just couldn't get her.
The Kat Dennings was like, I don't want to get anybody sick, and was just like, oh, she bounced, and it's like at least that kind of fits her character. Like they wrote it in a way that was like that's kind of funny, but also makes sense.
It's like a thing of like we do need to like give a little bit of like a leeway of, maybe they couldn't do it. So there could have been a potential. There could have been a situation where they did have like a nice big spoilery reveal, like a nice like oh, because someone new's coming in, but just due to the fact that it's COVID, we can't get that, and it's like a 50-50. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm still in speculation land here. Yeah. But overall, I think is great finale. I can understand why people are disappointed.
Yes.
I think if they said I'm disappointed because it was a bit too rushed, fair enough. Yeah. But they got I'm disappointed because Reed Richards wasn't reviewed. Yeah. And I'm like,
John Krasinski didn't show up as one of the Fantastic Four members, and I'm like, well, there's a lot of speculation. Like there's some of the speculation that I saw in the last 3 episodes. There was like so many like it was like that the Always Sunny meme where Charlie's looking at the board and it's like so many things crossed together. It's just like you got to understand that Disney wasn't doing like $100 million deals when there's a pandemic going on. That's too fucking dangerous.
Also, the most important thing is that if there's gonna be review, you think they're gonna give it to you for like $4.99 a month? Fuck them. Everything in the cinema, they're gonna make money off you dumbasses.
Bingo! Like there's
give you that for free.
There was so much of it where I think that Evan Peters showing up in episode, was that 5 or 6? I think it was.
Episode. Let me pull up. Episode 5.
Episode 5, yeah. That was amazing and very well done, and I think that they made a fantastic use of him. I think that the few episodes and the few minutes he was in there, it looks like they shot, like looking back at the old episodes, because I skimmed through them this morning, it was like, oh, it looks like they shot all of his shit in like 4 days. Like, because he doesn't spend that much time with Elizabeth Olsen or Paul Bettany. It's mainly with the kids. So, like, that stuff is super easy to film. And you have to do it in the daytime due to, like, just regular SAG rules, right? And so it's very cute to see that, like, you know, they made use of him. But in the end, Ralph Boner.
Ralph Boner. Puke Penis. That's his name. Puke Penis.
Dick Vomit. Dick Vomit here.
Dale Bastion in the chat makes a very good point where it's forgive Quicksilver, not if it's in the room with Ben Kingsley. It's like, so all of our failed, like, it's really him and it's not, has just been played by actors playing actors.
Yes, I think that's so funny of like, if that's like this undercurrent thing that either SWORD or Hydra is hiring actors out of Los Angeles just so they can be red herrings in the MCU. It's such a funny conspiracy.
Out of work improvisers.
All right, guys, we're gonna need just a suggestion from the back, and then someone's like Mandarin, and they like get activated, and they're like, okay, I've got to go kill Tony Stark. Like that just.
Hi everybody, welcome to the MCU Out of Work Improvisers. My name is Ralph Boner. Welcome everyone. Okay, we're gonna play our first game. Pretend who's gonna be Watu the Watcher. All right.
Okay. All right, we're gonna do some party quirks. All right, I'm gonna come in through the here. Okay, so the scene is it's a party and it's at Stark Tower. All right, everybody, let's go. All right.
Okay. Hulk smash, angry. Hulk also angry. Grim Reaper wasn't featured, although his helmet showed up.
Yeah.
Like, really?
How bad do you think stand-up is in the MCU? Because we haven't seen any comedians. Like, we've had people played by comedians, obviously, but I think that there's got to be some shitty deleted scene where they show like somebody trying to do bits about the Avengers.
Based on the fact it's Disney, therefore theoretically they're gonna get Bill Burr, since Bill Burr's already on Mandalorian. It's gonna be a Bill Burr going like, I don't understand these Avengers. What are you avenging? It's a bunch of white people. What are they angry? I understand. I understand you all the time.
Just Bill Burr was like, do you think that sometimes Tony Stark just looks at all the shit that he's blown up and wonders, did I cause this? Do you think that maybe that he's the problem? Anyway, I'm glad he's fucking dead. And then there's like a horrible Bill Burr canceled in the Earth 62 is like Bill Burr is he doesn't exist anymore. We erased him. We snapped him out of it.
Dale Basham, brings a good point. There's Kimmel. Kimmel is in the MCU.
That's true. And Elon Musk, technically, if Iron Man 2 is still canon. It sucks, but that's, there is, I was going to say, there is a lot to, like we were saying before, there's a lot to speculate, obviously, about where sort of the MCU is going here. I have to say, I made a joke about it on Twitter, but I kind of wish they kept going with certain types of parodies in the vein of the first 5 episodes, because I do think that if somebody's going to binge the show, which I do recommend because I think it's a good show, I think it's a solid 7, maybe an 8 out of 10. But the last 3 episodes go like this. Like, it's a real bell curve situation. Like, you're gonna be bored out of your mind once you realize, as you can see because we're broadcasting in the hex, that once it becomes space lasers. Oh, Loco Jamer, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate that.
And that's all I've got.
That's all I've got. But I do think that. What do you think was the best episode of WandaVision? Like, which one did you feel like you enjoyed the most?
Ooh, now I'm coming into this as a bit of like a TV nerd, and I like old school stuff and all like traditional sitcoms and all that jazz. And I agree with you. I wish there was a little bit more to sitcom stuff. But on the other hand, they also know like this is an MCU product. And I have a few. My brother, in fact, actually didn't quite like WandaVision because he saw the first 2 or 3 episodes and he's like, "What's this bullshit? Why are they old? Why are they black and white? Why are they talking?" And I'm like, "Okay, I forgot sometimes you have no patience. And this is not a series for people who have no patience because they're coming in. It's a mystery. It is a mystery.
Yes.
If you like watch like if you can pick up an Agatha Christie novel and you just are spending the time flipping to the back of the book to look at the result, this is not your show.
All right, who murdered these 10 people on a train? What's going on?
Yes. Go watch something more like your intellect level, like The Floor is Lava. That's just perfect for you. It's very easy to understand. The floor is lava.
The floor was lava.
I understand this now.
Why can't the lava kill the people on the train? Why isn't there lava in the Agatha Christie MCU, which stands for Murder Cinematic Universe?
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The PCU, the Poirot Cinematic Universe. No, but no, I agree with you. Again, as someone who's a huge fan. It's also, sorry, thank you so much for the follow, Jackie Walkie. I'm assuming one of your fans or followers. Yeah. It's very wonderful. You don't have to do that. I also suggest subscribing and following Mr. SamSee as well.
They already subbed. I've got their money. I got their money in my pocket. I got it right here.
He's going to use it to buy 20,000 more bow ties and board games.
Yes. This shit don't pay for itself.
I mean, I know as someone who owns both Secret Hitler and Codenames, those games are not cheap. There's this.
Yeah. I got Chinatown in the back and Viticulture. I got like the Euro games up in this bit.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that every single year you have to buy the ones that win all of the awards, whether it's Dixit or anyway. We're getting off track. I would say, but I was gonna say I was concerned watching it because but my partner, she's a little bit younger than me and she's like by just like a few years. But luckily her brother's massive fucking nerd. Watch it. Like their whole thing was they would go to every MCU movie together, and her mum. They would watch old sitcoms together all the time. So I barely had to explain anything. Like when we were like, oh, this is the Brady Bunch. Oh, this is Dick Van Dyke. And obviously they do. I like the fact that they do explain it in the show and in the MCU that her dad is like a bootlegger, like a DVD bootlegger for Sokovia. It's such a cute little touch to it. And it's like, that's really, really fun. That's nice.
I like how it's like we have to hide the Dick. We can keep everything out there, but we're gonna hide the Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke is the one thing we have to keep secret. No one can know we're looking at Dick Van Dyke.
I want to know what the piracy laws for the early Sokovia Accord for DMCA, because it's like, wouldn't that guy just like torrent everything? Because like most Middle Eastern, not Middle Eastern, but Eastern European guys I know, they just torrent everything. Why is he bringing full DVD box sets back from the US to learn their English? Like,
they're like a poor third world European country. They're all the same in media. They're all like, we talk like this and we have DVD and we're always at war. Why are we at war? We don't know why we are at war, but we are at war.
We watched The Middle of Malcolm and we enjoy the penis van lesbian show. We very like it much. Like I like the fact that like the whole sort of Agatha going through her sort of history and timeline was their version of retconning things. People don't know retcon stands for oh my god, I've forgotten it. Something continuity.
We'll retcon the retcon.
It's
retroactive
continuity. Thank you. That's why you're here.
We will definitely just to cover the
I just lost 700 points.
We will get into Catherine Hahn later, but
I mean, I think we can both agree Catherine Hahn is the highlight of the show. Best thing about WandaVision.
Yeah,
it's hands down.
There's only been, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong about this. There's only been 3 villains, including Catherine Hahn, who have survived. Only 3 villains have ever survived their movie or their piece, which is Loki.
Yeah, Loki. I'm trying to think of the second one.
The Vulture.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, from Homecoming. Yeah, that's a good point.
And like, the stretch of time between the first and the second was like, oh, that's a lot of years.
Oof. A lot of. I mean, Michael Keaton's getting on in his years. I love him. I love him so much.
You kept on 2 sort of supernatural beings.
Mordo.
Just an electrician. Mordo.
Mordo's in. Oh my god. Oh, I'm just my no.
We don't count if it's Eternals. We don't count the fucking Eternals. That don't fucking exist in my world. That don't goddamn exist. I don't watch it.
Oh man, I've watched Chiwetel Ejiofor. In the thought. I want to say
villain. He wasn't the villain. He to quote wrestling, he turned heel, but he wasn't the heel. He turned heel at the end. He wasn't like the main bad guy.
He wasn't the best guy. He was definitely a villain initially.
He became a bad guy at the end. But he's not like he did it for sure. Yeah, but he was not like he didn't like the piece of media didn't surround focus on him as the villain.
I do.
Whereas,
well, I think we already obviously know the villain for that film, and so I do think that was sort of interesting about the fact that Catherine Hahn, like her leaving Catherine Hahn at the end to just exist in Westview, I feel like that's a fucking ticking time bomb, because anything could just set her off, and then she's like, oh, I'm a witch, I will just fuck up all of New Jersey, or basically all of America essentially. It felt like a bad idea.
Oh, fuck up all of New Jersey. Oh shit, someone's beat me to it already. Oh, Chris Christie, thank you.
Oh no, she's gonna destroy a bridge. Oh, it's already broken. Chris Christie did that. That's fucked up.
She's gonna do cocaine in the office. Oh wait.
Oh, that's no. It was Agatha all along. That's who's been controlling Chris Christie. The Republicans
messing up New Jersey. It's been Agatha
all along.
Who's been voting down workers' rights? It's been Agatha. Yeah. Big review. Agatha, a very heavy GOP member.
But I do think that it just reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Community, but it reminded me so much of the scene at the end of season 3 in the air conditioning academy, where I literally shouted out with my partner there, and luckily she understood the reference. I was just yelling as no, take her to jail. Like don't just leave her there and then turn her back into a fucking housewife version. Take her to fucking jail. Take Wanda to jail too.
Of everything in the finals, that was the most tense moment. Once they finished the final fight and they're going, I was like, oh, don't kill her. Yeah. She's good. Yeah. Don't kill Catherine Hahn. Don't kill Catherine. And they're like, I'll leave you here till I need you. I'm like, oh yes, they're keeping her in. They're keeping her in. She's alive.
It was so funny. Like literally 2 weeks before WandaVision started, my partner hasn't seen like all of the dumb dude bro comedies that I watched when I was younger, and I showed her Step Brothers, like the extended edition, and Catherine Hahn in that is wild as fuck. Like she's so unhinged. And then when she turns up in WandaVision, I was like, oh yeah, anyway, they're the same fucking person. They're the like, and obviously she becomes more and more unhinged as the show goes along. Oh yeah, Red Skull technically survived because he's just hanging out on that cliff.
No, he's dead. He died. This is his spirit. His spirit. I mean, alive. He literally died. He
literally died. Yes, and
now he's an ooky spooky floaty. I like how like the person in charge of you need to sacrifice something you love to get this is a goddamn Nazi.
Yeah,
he's a fucking Nazi.
So what do you? At no point they
morality.
No point they ask the Red Skulls like, what do you love? And he's just like, genocide. Whatever, anything that isn't Jewish.
Basham is saying there's 4 now. Baron Zemo survived.
Well, obviously he's gonna be in Captain.
I forgot about him because he was fucking the worst. his entire thing was like, his entire plot was, well, aren't I a lucky Hydra agent? I'm a lucky Nazi.
I'm a lucky boyo. Just living in the MCU.
Just one random dude destroyed like every superhero. It's like, oh god, Thanos wasn't the strongest superhero. Just a random dude with videotapes.
It's just like, I get to destroy the world by knowing that you guys probably shouldn't be friends because things aren't super good with your parents. There's so much about what is coming up just for the next year. For Marvel and obviously for Disney Plus. I do like the fact that obviously the original plan, the original timeline for Phase 4 is meant to be WandaVision, and then a month later it was meant to be Multiverse of Madness. And obviously now we have to wait a full year of that. Oh god, COVID really fucked up so much stuff because that and the new Spider-Man film are the only things I'm really excited for the next year. Because I don't think Loki doesn't come out till next year. Is that?
I think next year, end of this year.
End of this year.
Falcon Winter Soldier is next week, but I mean, I'm gonna watch Falcon Winter Soldier, but I'm not like, oh my god, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like these are two characters I kinda care about. I don't like.
And Zemo's back, so place your bets. Will Zemo survive this? Answer: probably not.
I just don't like the trailers trying to make it look like it's a buddy cop movie from the 80s because it's just
it's a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, I don't like. How are you gonna make that extend out over like 9 episodes? Like, I just don't like. Yeah, they'll hate each other at the beginning, and then like, what are you gonna do by episode 3? Like, I feel like I will watch.
Get Catherine Hahn back. Get her in.
Just like that's the only thing keeping them apart, and she's like a former love interest, and she like comes back and is like, I love you boys, I love you so much, fight for my Catherine heart, and it's just I think that there's I don't know. I think the action will be fine, and I'll probably watch 1 or 2 episodes, but I'll probably just watch the recaps that enough people like obviously make for YouTube. It's its own cottage industry, not cotton industry. that one
cottaging industry.
Cottaging industry. Thank you. But yeah, I do think that some highlights because I've written. I've got a. Sorry, let me just click over here. I've got like the highlights from the show in general. I think Monica Rambeau shooting the Kevlar jumpsuit was fantastic in the early episodes, and the use of Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix as a needle drop for the end of episode 3 is, I felt chills, like fucking just my whole, because one, I love Hendrix, I love his first 3 albums, I love so much about that, and so many times they use his songs and it's just like, it's the 70s, all right, he's Jimi Hendrix, all like, they're in war, here's some fucking Jimi Hendrix. It was like Voodoo Child just as she gets pregnant, and then just the fucking guitar solo they just make, because they usually use the first half of the song. Chills, actual fucking goosebumps all over my body, and just like, I was just like, this is better than almost anything the MCU has done in years, forgetting that Infinity War was 2 years ago. Just like this, and then
we spend billions and billions of dollars. Everyone here but the Jimi Hendrix flick, and I like Jimi Hendrix.
It's like, I'm just such a hipster. But also, it was nice to see Darcy back. Darcy's an underrated character.
Darcy was so good. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't watched it. Like, apart from Ragnarok, I haven't watched the first 2 Thors.
They're okay. I think the first is a better fish out of water story than the first Avengers. I think it's funnier, and I think it's more enjoyable. Dark World, obviously, a lot of people hate. They think it's one of the worst MCU films up there with, obviously, well, down there, I guess, with the Incredible Hulk. But I think it's okay. Yeah, I just think it's okay. Like, it's the same thing with Ultron.
I could give it a bash.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I didn't watch Incredible Hulk. Abomination survived. Yeah, apparently Abomination's coming back later on in MCU.
Yes, apparently, yeah. There's rumors of that happening. In the same way, there's obviously. We might as well just talk about what's kind of coming up next for MCU stuff because we've already sort of teased it. Loki, and I think more interestingly. I'm just gonna say interestingly again. More interestingly, Secret Invasion, which is the Skrulls take over S.W.O.R.D. and then try to take over the world as well.
Just to confirm what we have for this year,
yes,
Black Widow will eventually come out. I don't
possibly
know.
for Disney Plus. Yeah. I'm excited about that just because David Harbour as the Red Captain America. Fuck, I've already forgotten his name. Captain Communism.
Captain Moscow.
Captain Russia. Captain Soviet.
Communism. Captain Communism. Red Guardian.
Captain
that's
Communism
is better.
I mean, I just like
Black Widow. Yeah.
Wait, it's Florence Pugh is going to be in that, who I think is a phenomenal actress. I can't remember who she plays in Black Widow. Will hulking and Wiccan be a thing because Disney? Wait, as in She-Hulk or just Hulk in general?
No, Hulkling and Wiccan.
Hulkling, sorry. Yes.
Hulkling,
yeah. That's. I mean, oh god.
Disney allow the gay? Yeah, of course, because it's not going to be for like another 4 years before these two get like.
That's true.
You have to introduce them and then get the love. That's gonna be a while more. That's a long way more.
I mean, who else is gay in the MCU? I'm just trying to think who has that relationship.
So I feel that there should be a game like, who else is gay in the MCU?
Just like allowing the gay in Eternals as if like the gay is a...
Who's the gay?
Who's gay?
Who's the gay? Hold on, I missed that fucking part.
Just finding out that the gay is actually just like a different hero, where it's like, oh my god, it's the character. The gay has just come out. That's not just come out. Anyway, but yeah, I'm excited for Secret Invasion because that'll be interesting just to see the Skrulls take over.
There is a Fastos. He's the first superhero to be depicted as gay in an MCU film.
Oh wow!
Probably dying first. We know the rules, gang.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, that's something that hasn't left.
Like, what chance does he have?
Ah man, it's chaos magic, Wanda, and that makes you the gay. Jesus Christ! I'm not allowed to say these jokes. I'm uncomfortably straight. You do it. You go do it. It's
two chaos gays stand before me. Ladies, put up prior to tonight's elimination. You had a chance to try to retcon the MCU. Time to retcon for your life. RuPaul is the new big bad. RuPaul as Mephisto. You got it here first.
There's they just do MCU Drag Race, and then they just bring out, it's like, what is all this cape bullshit? Why is everybody just obsessed with cape? Just be who you are. Oh my god, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, actually, earlier this week, I wish I knew the creator. There was an amazing video about Bewitched and how that show for many sort of gay Americans was like their own version of sort of coming out, and that there's a lot of allegories between.
I know the video you're talking about. I actually like that video. But, I can't remember his name, but the guy who runs it, who did that, does a lot of videos about queer people in the media in the past future. I think he does a podcast. I think it's this Sewers of Paris.
Yes,
where they just more about queers in pop culture. But yeah, Bewitched was a huge thing.
It was,
Bewitched was clearly featured as well in WandaVision, which is, to answer the question you asked, God knows how long ago before we got into who's gay.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, no, I think that is my favorite episode of the entire WandaVision, because that is like the one where things begin to start to unravel. Yes. It's not like episode 2 where it fully unravels. This is one where it unravels, but you still keep the fun of the sitcom without questioning everything.
Exactly. I think that there's, and this was, I tweeted about this extensively, in the fact that I don't think the premise of WandaVision could have lasted any longer than it already did. I think that sort of 5 episode where it's like, oh, we're establishing decades of sitcoms, and I do have to say that ironically enough, the weakest one was the Modern Family one, but for obvious reason. It was like her breakdown, as it were.
We didn't spend a lot of time in it. That's the thing. I think that, like, because it's like that one is like the handicapping, and also once again we don't know when that was in the timeline. Exactly. Had planned more, and
so easy to film. So easy to film during a COVID situation, because you just need it's like a 3-person crew and then the actor, and then it's just the distance obviously works out as well.
I still love the episode. I thought it was great. I just thought, like, if they just didn't have enough time, and they were like just doing generic sitcoms instead, like generic sitcom tropes instead of specifically 2000 sitcom tropes.
Exactly. I think that's the thing, is that I because I was struggling, and this talks to me being a failure of my media and communications degree. I was trying to think of what specific things were tropes for like early 2000s comedies, and the only thing that I could genuinely think of was the fact that, I mean, outside obviously, you know, the sort of the mainstay, which is sort of the mockumentary format for comedy now, but the main thing that I remember was when I was at uni, and there was this fantastic Cracked video back when they, you know, had good writers and good people, that they were talking about how 9/11 kind of affected sitcoms, how everybody moved away from big city sitcoms and everyone stopped watching big city sitcoms, and they kind of made it more suburban and more comfortable in like small town kind of stuff, or they made it more fantastical, more personal and stuff like that. And that explains like The Middle and Scrubs and obviously Malcolm in the Middle and stuff like that were very, very focused on that sort of, not necessarily just purely family values, which is a part of sort of like the Bush era conservative kind of stuff, but really just focused like being at home, being safe at home, being like with your family and stuff like that. It was like an 80s resurgence in its own weird way, but it was like unintentional. And then that kind of like that whole treating it like Malcolm in the Middle was so amusing, because obviously the kids become Wiccan and Speed as the young Avengers sort of down the track. Yeah. But you actually kind of got to know the kids in a way that rather than they were just kind of there, which I think is incredibly important as well. But yeah,
they're just sowing the seeds for much later on. Like it's not going to be anytime soon. Like people who are expecting mutants are like, you're not getting mutants anytime soon. Mutants are going to be announced further down. It's going to be a bit more.
I mean, I think
they got to decide. They have to decide like who the big villain is for Stage 4, and they haven't decided it. And like there's so many people online who are just there's an altar to Mephisto in the corner, like please let it be Mephisto. I've spent the last 2 months like telling people it was gonna be Mephisto. And it's not Mephisto, kids. Guess who it was? It's the villains. It's the witches we made along the way.
But you bring up such a great point about the fact that they're not going to put a fucking big villain like Mephisto in their shitty little Disney Plus show. Like that's so important.
I just like the main villain of WandaVision was PTSD.
Yeah. The main villain of WandaVision is not accepting the fact that your faults are not other people's faults, but you should seek therapy. That's
Yeah, this would all be solved if she just went to therapy. Let that be a lesson, kids. Go to therapy.
There's no
stops you from trying to destroy a town.
There's no HBO in HBO in the WandaVision universe, because otherwise she would understand what in treatment was. Like there's just so much there's so much shit in the MCU that I think they kind of gloss over like genuinely horrible problems, but when they actually like pinpoint it, whether it's like obviously the Vulture in Homecoming, or just like international sanctions in the Civil War. And Black Panther for that matter as well, like the whole Sokovia Accord thing, like that, or like just the sort of the 70s paranoia of like Winter Soldier. That's the shit that I love, where they put like real world politics or real world like sanctions on fucking the MCU. Because one, it's not going to last, but two, that there's going to be that awkward conversation between the writers and the actors where it's like, all right, so there's this thing that happened in the 70s. Like, that's just gonna be like this just this awkward conversation where it's like, you kind of have to explain, like, this thing kind of exists in the real world, but also you still have to play a comic book character. Like, that is the one thing that I praise a lot of these writers and directors and stuff like that, is that they have to, the tightrope is so fucking thin sometimes in terms of, like, what they have to, like, I can't imagine what the writer's room, like, was WandaVision outside of those first 5 episodes. Because the parodies are so on point. Like it down to the aspect ratio and the costumes and the coloring and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to think of like what would be the hardest thing to have like nailed for that. Well, I mean, I guess for
WandaVision?
Yeah, for WandaVision. Like
the hardest sitcom?
Yeah. Because
I was just gonna say, like, in the 2000s, the only thing they were missing is like a music montage set over like an indie song that nobody's ever heard of. And they're like going through their problems and looking at life like that, like the traditional Scrubs. The Scrubs moment of
like just having Mad World.
As like Wanda looking out the window, Agatha flipping through the Darkhold.
Like How to Save a Life. Yeah.
the rabbit just eating children or something.
Oh my god. That I mean, for people who don't know, Mr. Scratchy is her son or her father in the MCU? I think it's her son. Like
they never. No, like there's her son is named Scratch something, but this is just the name of the rabbit. We don't know if it's a son. It's just the name of a rabbit. I would say it's along the category of the Grim Reaper's hat.
Yeah. It's just there. It's like how they had oh well, I mean, you hadn't in the second Thor film. I mean, they make a joke about it in Ragnarok, but the fucking Infinity Gauntlet is one of the Nicholas Scratch. Thank you, Jackie. The Infinity Gauntlet is physically there, but I love the retcon in Ragnarok when Kate Blanchett, when Hela comes down and she just pushes and is like, fake, and she just pushes it down. I'm like, oh my god, it's so one fucking line, and I'm like, it just topples so many theories. It's fucking brilliant, but it also fits with Odin's character being this fucking like just this shitty god.
Yeah, I just like that also people like now they've cast Melissa McCartney as Hela for like the fake play and that they had with and people are like, I never liked her. She wasn't funny. She's terrible. Like, she's just gonna be in for 10 seconds, gang. Say like 2 lines and then she's out. Like, guys, you gotta calm the fuck down. Like, there are other things to be angry about in life than someone doing a cameo.
It's there's just so much that I think about like MCU in general, and WandaVision was a wonderful culmination of that because at the exact same time, obviously. The Snyder Cut is coming out in a couple of weeks and stuff like that. And the speculation behind the Snyder Cut has been genuinely insane. While, like, looking at the MCU WandaVision stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, some of that's possible. Like, yeah, like, obviously, oh my god, what is his name? Magneto is in one of the versions of the MCU. Magneto is technically Wanda's dad, so there is a possibility that Ian McKellen might show up, or Michael Fassbender.
Yes, Magneto smuggled fucking sitcom DVDs.
not that dad, but I'm glad. Yeah, once they brought that part of the storyline, it's like, okay, well, Magneto's not showing up. Well, fuck that. Like, it's
mutants. The Brotherhood. Here's the box set of How I Met Your Mother.
Now we can finally know how Ted continues to gaslight women. The amount of speculation was like really fascinating because like even as someone who's like just a baseline MCU fan, like going through hours of reading the Wikia and obviously learning more about the House of M and how that story was written, stuff like that, and then it all coming down to just flying. Obviously you could see it because we're in the Hex, just flying around and then shooting lasers at each other, which was kind of a bummer. I will say that there are certain parts of that finale that just felt like it felt like a bad superhero film, and there was like the big laser in the sky shooting lasers at each other. Like
I felt like when they did it, I didn't mind it. I was like, okay, this is MCU. You gotta have something. You gotta have one of this. If you don't, you gotta piss people off. You need that there. There's my page for people who have been like waiting 8 episodes for the big fight.
Yeah. I just love that.
I mean, to be fair, like go ahead.
No. What were you gonna say?
I said my favorite fight was the Vision ship of Theseus fight. I was like, this makes sense. This was a good fucking fight rather than fucking than me playing the whole time going, god damn it, Wanda, you just fucking. Some of my friends, I'm like sometimes with my friends, I'm just like, damn it, if you just went to therapy, we wouldn't be here in this fucking situation now, would we? You just took your meds. We wouldn't be fucking dealing with this now, lady, would we? And it's like, when the room review happened, I was like, yeah, you solve problems by learning. You learn from your mistakes. That's the step to recover.
I mean, that's the weird thing.
This is a therapist wet dream. This is a therapist wet dream.
Oh, yeah. My partner's studying psychology, and so most of the time when we were watching the scenes where Wanda is like talking with the townsfolk and like them coming back to life and shit, and it's just like, well, it just like because it completely destroys the Agatha all along, but Agatha isn't controlling the fucking the townsfolk. She's not controlling the Westview whole thing. Like, Wanda is technically the villain of WandaVision in a wider way, but it's really about her, her grief and PTSD and stuff like that. I think that
but also like the thing when they say like it's Agatha all along. Remember, Agatha isn't doing the song.
Yes,
it's not her. No. Wanda's the one creating it. So Agatha is the villain in Wanda's mind. That's why she's been. You're doing all this. You're controlling the townspeople.
Bingo.
Like, no, it's not. It's all you. You're the villain of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Jackie does point out a good point in episode either 5 or 6, whichever one had the Modern Family parody. They had the Nexus pills. And the fact that they were they're basically the fact that they're basically antidepressant. It's like an like a American medical ad. It was just like it was so perfect down to the colors. Like I was just because like I was watching the Golden Globes earlier this week, and the worst part of any time I have to pirate a telecast of the Golden Globes is I have to watch American ads, and because I was watching it with my partner, and she's like, "Are all American ads this fucking insane?" I'm like, "You have no idea. This is like the good shit because they have to spend so much money on these ads. Like, there are so many way more worse ads when it's just like, Prexapil, whenever you feel like, don't just don't drown your kids. Just don't do it. Just if you feel like drowning your kids, maybe Prexapil is not for you. But I do like the fact that Wiccan and Speed felt like actual characters, like in terms of like they weren't just like kids in a regular sitcom mode. It kind of felt like I loved the fourth episode where they had Sparky and his death, and like she had to explain grief to them essentially, and it felt like
fifth episode.
God damn it! Yes,
with the recap of the first 3 episodes. But here's what you missed.
Yes, yeah.
On
and
that was
why was there no Glee episode of WandaVision? How come that was that wonderful late 2000s staple that no one likes?
No, because of the Glee episode, it would be like the entire episode would just be them wheeling out gay people and going, "See, representation." Now back in the closet.
Yeah. We're gonna make as many jokes about your sexuality and what makes you different. But hey, you got to be on the show. Isn't that amazing?
Hey, you get to sing a Gaga song. That's what the gays love, right? You all like Gaga.
Oh my god, I can't believe we get to sing a whole episode of Britney Spears song. Isn't she an icon? Anyway, I
was gonna say, I also like the fact that with like Wiccan and Speed, it's like I'm not sure it was on purpose or whether it's a purposeful casting, but just like a true sitcom, the kid actors weren't that good. They were not really.
Yeah,
I'm not speaking on the kid actors, but they were just like, "Mom, my head hurts.
Yeah,
I don't know why." I'm like, "Oh, is this on purpose?"
Yeah,
I really thought this might be purposefully.
I was gonna say that, like, as well as they are like written and they have their own personality. Again, all kid actors. Well, not all kid. Like 99.9% of kid actors are fucking terrible. Like you can't.
Yeah.
It's just like and it's not. To be fair, not entirely their fault. It's just you'll learn. Once you get to figuring out Stanislavski and having actual feelings of your own, you'll probably figure it out, and that's fine. Yeah. But it did feel like they were sitcom kids. Like
Hey kids, welcome to acting. Here's Stanislavski.
Yeah.
First thing on the top, fucking Stanislavski. And the world's ending, but please read about putting yourself in the mind of the character. Just be one of it. Jackie says I could.
I felt like I only say that I think that they're good characters, and that I felt super sad at the end when Wanda delivers that line of just like, "I'm glad you chose me as your mom." I think that's beautiful. That means a lot to obviously somebody who doesn't really have their family. That everybody in her family is technically dead. But it's
dies
just
again. How many times did it die in this? For fuck's sake! How many times does Vision have to die?
It's
like, wow, poor Bethany just makes like step aside, Sean Bean. Poor Bethany is the new dies and everything.
He had an interview with I think it was Entertainment Weekly, and it was the perfect troll move. And my girlfriend pointed this out even before the last episode aired, and he was talking really specifically about an actor he's wanted to work with forever, and he's like, I can't give too much away, but he's very charismatic, he's very attractive. I think that he has a lot of range with what he does, and I think it's fantastic that I'm going to get to work with him. He was fucking talking about himself. He was talking about the fact that he gets to fight White Vision. That's all it was. It's like Tori saw that, and Tori watched that interview and was like, oh, he means himself. And I'm like, no, come on. He's probably talking about Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender, but he has been with both of those actors, I think, in other projects. And so it's just like this whole thing that when White Vision showed up and they were going to fight, and I was just like, oh, he was 100% talking about himself. That was exactly what he meant.
I just took it now that we have to say that White Vision is part of the word White Vision.
We just kept calling him Vision. It was just so much easier. It's Vision and Vision, and then that was Vision is no more. But I do agree with you. I loved the
Vision, White Vision, White Vision.
Okay, I'm not allowed to say that because that has horrible nationalistic.
White Vision. I think that's like the new project for Gina Carano.
It's That's the Mandalorian actress who was a very big fan of hating on Jews. Anyway,
I like how it's like, I'm just speaking my mind. I'm like your mind is a very hateful thing.
You don't like a lot of people in your mind because you're coming up with these empty threats on people who don't exist.
It's like you You'd say the N-word if you're allowed to.
Oh, totally.
I right to say it. I'm like,
she's just like,
say it. And it's their right to fire your dumb ass for thinking the Holocaust was fake. You dumb piece of shit.
Oh no, you just ended up losing out on $6 million. I wonder if that was going to be real. Yeah, I was going to say that I would love to have more fights in the MCU in the future that are like the Ship of Theseus. I would absolutely adore that shit, because that is what it's like in the fucking comics sometimes. It's some Dragon Ball Z shit where they'll talk for like 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, they'll cut back and forth between some fucking lasers in the sky, but the main thing is like they like have like a balance of wit and about like thinking about the wider ramifications of what the battle means, and I think that kind of stuff is cool. But yeah, also I do like the Photon Pietro fight, because we knew it was coming, but it was just like she just fucking flipped him and he was gone, and that was it. Like that was just, he didn't really have his powers.
Does Pietro get his powers from Agatha?
I think that was the assumption. I think that was like the main thing, is that because she wasn't close by, like that was how I had to like think about it when I was watching it. I was like, well, I guess, and then obviously he had the thing around his neck, but that, like, again, it's just I just don't want it to be Ralph Boner. Like, why is it Ralph Boner? Why? You fuckers at the MC, you cast this just to get our hopes up. It's
cruel.
Cruel. It's the cruelest joke you could play on MCU fans. Like, it is fucking up there with like bringing Jared Leto into Justice League and getting him to say we live in a society. Like, it's just like, it's being just self-aware enough to be like, we can really tug on some heartstrings here, but here's a Boner joke. Here's your dumb little, because it didn't have to be Ralph Boner. I don't think Ralph Boner is in the MCU.
You didn't have to call him Boner. You didn't have to call him Boner. That was an active decision to call him Boner. You could have chosen any other surname in the world.
Yeah.
Fucking Kevin Feige just went Boner.
Just him standing up in front of the WandaVision writers room. Like, all right, I appreciate all the hard work that you're doing. I know today you're finishing up WandaVision. It's a big project. I know that we're not going to be able to reveal it for 2 years. But let me leave you with one word, and then just scribbles the word Boner in big letters on the whiteboard.
Turns the whiteboard around and Boner.
Just Boner.
Disney executives throw money
I
at
need
him
this! I need this in the MCU! And I don't know! I won't explain why, and then just storms out.
$4.5 billion dick joke. Was it worth it, Disney? Was it worth it?
That's the thing, is like, I love it. But there's no good explanation for it, which is why it's so hard to love it. Like, that's the thing, where it's like, good dick jokes.
Fly a rocket to the moon and draw a penis on the moon, and it would be cheaper. Yeah, cheaper than Ralph Boner.
You could carve the Disney Plus logo into the middle of that motherfucker. It would be cheaper to do that. Literally every night comes up in the sky. I do have to say that. Yeah, that's a lot of balls to kind of pull off what they did. I think that
a lot of bones.
That pulled off a lot of boners. No, they for a show like WandaVision. We can get TOS right now. There's a lot to be said about the fact that this could have gone horribly. Like, I feel the same way about this that I felt about Endgame, whereas like I loved everything. It felt like a teeny tiny bit of a letdown at the end, but I still felt that overall, great experience. Would I watch it again? Fuck yeah, I would. But whether or not, like, again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how much I can suggest it to non-MCU fans. Where I think about like Thor Ragnarok or Homecoming, where I think like, this is a good jumping in point. There's a lot that you can learn about the MCU without having to watch literally 20 other films.
WandaVision is one of the worst places to jump in as an MCU fan. It's not a because you're just like, why is it black and white? Why are they joking? It's very confusing, and it's like, I have MCU fan. My brother is an MCU fan, and he was confused. He likes this shit, and he's like, "Why are they doing all this old-timey stuff?" And I'm like, "Excuse me, this is the history of television, you bastard."
Like that was like a whole other thing. I really loved when they opened up the suitcase, and they all of the DVD sets in there, except I think 1 or 2, were technically Disney properties. Like, we know Malcolm in the Middle is obviously now on Disney Plus because it's owned by Fox and stuff like that. What I felt was interesting was the fact that for WandaVision, I know it's already played itself out in the comic books, but there was still, because I know we're not going to get a second season of WandaVision, there was still a lot of things that could have played out in a WandaVision style. I had a lot of people remember when the first episode dropped that there was a speculation of there being an animated episode, which I thought would be fucking cool. Because obviously, if you look at the landscape of television, that The Simpsons had such a huge effect, and obviously the Fox Disney owns The Simpsons now and stuff like that. It would have been nice to have an animated episode, and the only thing we kind of got out of it was that horribly existential Yo Magic ad. Like, that was the only bit of animation we got. Oh, except for the intro to Wanda Knows Best.
Oh, yeah. No, second episode.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
My girlfriend can't stop humming that. That is very, like, she'll...
That was so good!
It's so good, but it's like, it's been, like I said, baby, it was 7 weeks ago. like we'll be cooking dinner together, and I'm washing dishes, and she's like, WandaVision. I'm like, baby, I love you so much, but I can't right now. I'm gonna burn my hands.
I mean, I like Agatha all along, but I was trapped in a room with a homosexual last night who kept playing it on loop, and I was like, I hate this song now. Damn you, Zach, I'm blaming you for that shit. This is bullshit, you know it.
I'm trying to think of, like, what was the best kind of, like, hidden joke or Easter egg that I enjoyed the most. The Agatha All Along thing was very good, because that was basically, it was the Munsters theme, essentially, for people who remember the Munsters.
I'm a child, I'm gonna say, mastication.
That was a pretty good joke. The
But they're like, here's a big red. Like, I'm sorry, I'm still gonna harp on the fact that everyone had such an erection from Mephisto. Such an erection from Mephisto, and nothing. Blue ball the fuck out. Sorry, gang.
I need to know if it was an intentional reference in the Malcolm in the Middle episode where Pietro says it's going to be kick-ass, and then Wanda says kick-ass, because obviously Evan Peters is in Kia.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, Evan Peters is in Kick-Ass as Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who's also Pietro in the MCU. Like, that was like, and plus it's a superhero thing. Like that was like, I yelped. I was like, oh, fucking hell, the levels of meta, and it's just, it's so good. Also, I'd like seeing Kitty from that 70s show. I've got the actress's name. I kept referring to her as Kitty, because she wasn't just in that one episode.
Deborah Jo Rupp.
Yes, yeah, but she's also just one of the townsfolk. She's just there.
No, I just like the first episode was like, I have a good, like, I kind of want to like see a meme where it's like, first, like, before 2020, just like, hey, we're having a good time, and 2021.
Yeah.
If you're going to kill us, just kill us.
Just kill us now. It was just great seeing a lot of people fucking do their absolute best. I think Elizabeth, this is probably the most that Elizabeth Olsen has done.
Oh yeah, she
in 6 years.
She's gonna get something. She's gonna get an award.
Yeah,
for this
Disney.
She has to.
Disney, like,
get to the ass off.
Like, even if there's not an Emmy for Best Actress in a... I mean, how would you... I think it's a drama, technically? I mean, a lot of the...
Yeah, it's a drama. But to be fair, they could say it's a sitcom.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
They could go all over the place. They could technically sweep if they want to.
That's a really good point. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that if it was a Golden Globe, they would just say limited series. I think that's kind of how it would technically be counted as.
Yeah, limited series.
Paul Bettany, funny, so funny. Yeah. He just needs to just be in other funny stuff, because he's obviously the straight man, but he's done so well for a show like this.
Yeah, no, in a second episode, the Bewitched episode, the magic one,
oh!
Like, he was just on form.
Just
bam, bam,
pure,
bam.
like, such a great embodiment. He did a better Dick Van Dyke than Lin-Manuel Miranda tried in Mary Poppins Returns. Like, it felt just like something he... It felt like something that Paul Bettany has just had inside of him forever, and it was so good to see that come out. Also, Jimmy Woo learning magic from Ant-Man was fantastic. The fact that was a great running gag. I've loved Randall Park ever since I saw. I remember when I was like 14 or 15, he did a sitcom for Channel 101 called IKEA Heights, where him and his friends were filming an OC-style drama show in IKEA while also being told off, please, you can't film here in IKEA. It was like the OC of IKEA, and he played like one of the main characters in it. And I just think that he's he's brilliant. I think he's extremely underrated as an actor and as a comedy actor.
Like, everyone shined. This was like a rare thing where apart from the children, everyone was a great actor and actress. Everyone fucking like came in, hit their marks.
Yeah,
like sold it like it was going out of style. Hayward was such a god. Oh shit, he was a god. And he started up like, "Hey, I'm sorry, your mom's this." The end of the show, shooting kids, just straight up shooting.
It was just like I remember when that happened, and my partner like screamed, and I was like, "Yeah, not a good guy. Like it's just because he's gonna fucking shoot some kids. Like it just felt."
Yeah. No. One scene, I'm just like, this is bullshit for only one reason. So Monica jumps in front to stop the bullet.
Yes, yeah.
But it's very clear that he's shooting at Monica in the center, and she is miles away from the kids.
Yes.
So he's just a bad aim, and she's like, well, I like couldn't you just put the kids closer together so it looks like he's gonna hit the kids.
It just felt it felt like time and time again, like Hayward doing the wrong thing. Like so easy to write, so easy to be like, oh yeah, he's the best. Well, I mean, he's one of the villains, and obviously,
I mean, he's not the best written character in the fucking world. I mean, that's a giant plot hole there. Like, how the fuck did he get Vision's body?
Yeah,
how the hell did he get that? Never explained.
That was like, that was one of the things I felt like they crunched together and rushed it together. Like it just like because obviously you've got technically. About 4.5, 5 hours worth of television. That's 2.5 movies. The whole third act of it felt rushed. And I get COVID restrictions, everything like that, but it's still,
But it's also very true, like traditional Marvel of like you kind of stumble in the third act. Marvel always stumble in the third act. It's very rare you get a good third act.
Yeah, it's so weird after after Endgame Ragnarok, where they really kind of they pull it out of the fire. They really make a third act kind of like feel like this big event, this big wonderful thing. And the MCU kind of just did what it kind of usually does. It's lasers in the sky and fucking air battles and shit. And it's like I'm just glad that the main. The whole, I mean, we haven't talked about the more emotional parts of it, mainly because we're not very serious people. But the whole the sort of the final, Wanda closing the hex and like her knowing that the inevitable's coming. I really liked that. I felt like I was tearing up during that moment, like putting the kids to bed, her having the final moment with Vision. Oh no, what are you gonna say? What are you?
I love that. I just realized something. Remember when she opened the hex for all the citizens?
Oh yeah, to get out.
To run out.
Yeah.
Why did they come back? Why did they come back? Because at the end they're just standing there like staring. Did you all leave?
I guess all my shit's here.
The same places you were before.
Well,
You're in the exact same places.
Once they got out of the hex, they found out that COVID was a thing, and they ran back in.
Like, freedom! Fuck.
I don't want to wear a fucking. It's in Jersey. It's like I don't want to wear a fucking mask. Fuck this, and then they just walk right back in.
They're just all anti-maskers. That's what's going.
Yeah, they find out that Westview is like deeply conservative. Like Westview, if all of Westview voted, they actually would have got Trump reelected. No, that's not funny. We're not a political show. But yeah,
there's only one black guy and one brown.
One guy, one guy of Southeast Asian descent is there. That's basically it. I think that there was a lot of great emotional points in the show. The one thing that I felt that they didn't kind of follow through with, but for obvious reasons they didn't, is that the first few times things start fucking up in Westview, they are genuinely horrifying. I was skimming through the last couple of minutes of episode 1 and 2, and I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot how kind of dark Wanda gets, like in sort of how protective she gets, and obviously it makes sense in a wider context, but it is genuinely intimidating. That's why I think Olsen has such range that I don't think the MCU kind of gives her. That's why I think that shows like WandaVision are fantastic to let actors really spread their wings and stuff like that.
So I just think for the children it was just a huge red herring, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a pure red herring.
Yeah,
it didn't mean anything. It was just a red herring. I was like, I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine for the children being a red herring, but it was like it could have just been a dumb thing. It's like it didn't, like everyone thought like, oh, they're gonna keep saying it and it's only for kids. It's like no, she didn't even need. No one needed the kids. She just had kids because she wanted kids.
Exactly, yeah. And it's just like I mean, it makes sense because obviously we can kind of talk about it at length now. But the sort of the mid credits sequence, which is obviously teasing Captain Marvel 2, and then the final end credit sequence, which is going directly into the multiverse of madness. I think that obviously with her kids in different dimensions and stuff like that, I think that I mean, in a weird way, kids have helped humanize a lot of the Avengers, where I don't think, you know, kind of superhero films have kind of, like, whether that's Hawkeye and obviously sort of the sort of the beginning of Endgame, or what was I gonna say? What was the other thing? The other thing where they have kids and it's kind of like it's kind of
Iron Man 3?
I want to say Iron Man 3, but that's not it. No. Oh, I mean Tony Stark in general. The fact that he has a daughter. I think
Endgame.
Yeah. I mean that kind of shit's heartbreaking. Yeah.
So with the kids, are they Nexus beings? Is she going to the multiverse of madness to try to find her children? Is that
I think that is going to be the setup, in that Doctor Strange notices the multiverse is collapsing, and the reason is because Wanda is going from Nexus to Nexus trying to find her kids, and in her search she's unfortunately either leaving doors and windows open, not literally, but I think that she's disrupting certain things, and because of her influence in those nexi, Doctor Strange is going to have to confront her and be like, you can't keep doing this, you're destroying other universes while you're trying to find Wiccan and Speed. But I think that in the end they'll find a way to balance it out, because they don't exist in her universe, so bringing them in might not be that big a deal. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I think that the thing that's going to happen is that Doctor Strange is going to have to talk to Agatha, which I am very much looking forward to.
But also we do know that it is a horror, so it's going to be different. It is a horror.
Oh, I fucking hope so. You got Sam Raimi at the helm. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Because
what's going to happen there? I'm very curious. How does that work?
Well, I was looking into because obviously there was a lot of speculation around Mephisto. I was looking into what hell is like in the MCU. Technically, you don't really go to hell, but you can go to hell because it's a separate dimension. It's a part of the multiverse. So hell is its own. There are like multiple levels of hell, but you can actually visit hell using the Nexus portals. So my assumption is the kids are in fucking hell, and then they have to go into hell to fucking save them. And it's like the multiverse of madness isn't just like different parts of the multiverse. It's also like Dante's Inferno. Like they have to go through. And that would introduce Mephisto, because that would actually make sense to introduce Mephisto since they are going to hell. Bingo. Yeah. As opposed to just showing up in a show like this. Yeah. I didn't want to waste too much of your time, but do you want to end on final notes or anything you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, sure. Let's end on final notes. Let's discuss. So, WandaVision. Altogether, I think it's a great show.
Yes.
I definitely feel that there are some weak points. For example, there are a number of plot holes in there that we didn't get a chance to cover, like kind of like the skills, abilities, how suddenly she knows that she's controlling it and she doesn't know she's controlling it, but she knows she's controlling it. It's very vague. It's very vague for the mystery of it, and it sets up a good mystery, but sometimes at the end when you look back, it's like, that doesn't quite make the most sense.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an excuse we can give because of COVID. I'm willing to give them an excuse for COVID, but end of the day, I think it's fantastic. I'm definitely watching it again. I'm gonna binge through the whole fucking thing one more time sometime within the next week or so, when I find an opportunity to. Yeah, but what do you think about it?
I think, like I said before, I think it's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. I think that for what it's the stuff that I have absolutely loved about the MCU is the more cosmic, the more magical stuff. I've always felt like that really is what makes the MCU greater than sort of the DC counterparts, is that they're able to bring certain elements in that are fantastical and are brilliant, and I think that that's something that we don't really have anymore in, like, not just TV shows, but in cinema in general, where you kind of have this huge glut of like fantastical stuff at the start of you know, this the century with like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, and then all that kind of stuff just disappears. But I think the MCU is bringing that stuff back, and it's interesting, it's fun, it's emotional. I think I can 100% agree with you that the ending of it was very rushed, that there was certain elements that had plot holes, and that sort of things don't really make sense in terms of defining the parameters of everyone's powers. But ultimately, especially those first 3-4 episodes, are a testament to what the MCU can really do when everyone is just fucking on board for a premise. Same thing with Ragnarok, the same thing with, what's coming up with Loki and What If and all that kind of stuff, is that the more out there and the more crazy stuff, I'm here for it. Don't water it down, don't dull it down, don't go back to, lasers in the sky and people just fighting in the air, because we've seen that 1,000 times. We need more wacky, crazy shit.
You need more unique stories to tell. You can't just have the same superhero movie 20 times in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're getting that now. We're getting Shang-Chi, we're getting the Eternals, we're getting Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we are going somewhere different. I like this. This is the best way to grow a franchise, not just keep banging out the same things, because eventually they're going to get stale.
Yeah.
Vary up the content.
I think the DC universe in general has not learned that lesson for the past 20 years. I mean, outside of the Nolan trilogy, which was doing fantastic until Dark Knight Rises, and I think that the thing that they learned, you would kind of hope that they learned with the Dark Knight Rises, but they clearly didn't with the way that DCU is coming at the moment, is that the lack of innovation is what causes the problems. And I think that, that is one weird thing that I have to say about doing this 4-hour Justice League movie, is that the original Justice League is very bad and convoluted and silly and just dumb, but from what we've seen early on, it does look like they're taking it in a fucking crazy direction, and I think more stupid, weird stuff is better. It's what makes comic books comic books. Comic books are fucking weird, and it has retcon, and it has time travel, and it has all of this stuff, and I think the more weird, the better it gets, because I think that without that, it just stagnates culture in general. When you know that you have a behemoth that dictates a lot of popular culture, why leave it at the most bare bones? Like, why make it color by numbers? It's heartbreaking sometimes, because I look at something like Birds of Prey, and it's just like, it's so wonderful and colorful and brilliant, and I think it's great and beyond Margot Robbie and everybody's acting in it. And then a year later, Wonder Woman 84 comes out, and it's like, I
was so annoyed with that movie. I watched it like a month ago, and I was like, this is hot garbage. There is so many things.
That's crazy in the other direction. That's like...
Yeah. Executives, stop fucking writing. You're an executive, not a fucking filmmaker. Get out of the writer's room. Tell your writers what you want them to do, but don't write for your goddamn writers.
Exactly. It's just
anytime executive medals, it never ends well, you bastards.
Because I've definitely made that crazy, innovation speech before, and I just, there's this horrible part of me that that there's like a monkey paw wish of just that's Wonder Woman 84. It felt like, okay, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. It's just, oh man.
You want new stuff? Well, here's Blaze, but he fights Van Helsing or something. It's gonna be bad.
But Mr. Sam
Dante from the video game series shows up.
Yeah, he's just but not even the good Dante, the Dante from the Devil May Cry reboot from 2012 or whatever it was.
The whiny kid.
Yeah, emo Dante. Oh man, Mr. SamSee, thank you so much for joining me for this discussion. We definitely should do this again sometime, whether it's about MCU stuff
or Falcon and Winter Soldier in 6 weeks time.
We'll see how much of that I watch. We should 100%.
10-minute episode, 10 minutes stream. What do you think?
Was it quitting?
Bye.
That's it. It's the quickest. It's the quickest fucking wrap up that you've ever seen. We should totally.
It's 6 episodes, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. I think if it's, are they hour-long episodes, or are they just 45 minutes like we have with this?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me check now.
We should 100% do one for
40 to 50 minutes episodes. 40 to 50 minutes episodes.
That's not too bad. That's kind of what we had for WandaVision. But we should totally do one for Wonder Woman 84. We should both watch that and then come back next month.
Oh, you need me for that. I will. Oh, God. I have things. I have so many things to say about fucking Wonder Woman. God damn.
It's man, it'd be actually really good to talk about just watching both of them back to back, WandaVision and 84, and just being like, wow, they really fucked everything up.
It's like, wow, one of them really hates the main central character, as just hates this woman.
Yeah,
make her go through hell. The other one just hates women. Period.
It's like watching a master craftsman build a ship in a bottle and then insert that bottle into themselves anally.
And they go, I wish this bottle was bigger. I wish this bottle was ribbed.
But no, thank you so much for doing this with me. Obviously, we're gonna give a shout out to Mr. SamSee. Do you want to plug? Are you streaming later today? Or anything?
My next stream is Tuesday, so every Tuesday I run a comedy quiz show called Not Right Now. I get 3 amazing comedians come on, and we ask them very difficult questions, and they watch them fail miserably. I also do video games. We're starting with Mario Odyssey next week. I'll be playing it twice, 2 nights in a row, since this week I was busy, so I'm gonna get back. And next Thursday, if you're free at midnight, feel free to come along. It's something called 5. This is my actual trivia show. Where you and 4 other players stand a chance to win up to 100 of my actual dollars. You can walk away with actual money, but you gotta survive the questions and each other first. So if you want to, that will be Thursday. So just message me. I'm looking for players at the moment. Just 5, and I've got 2 maybes. So if you want, it's free cash. That's
no. I was gonna say that once I finish up my sister's birthday and moving, I definitely want to be a part of that. Just because I love trivia, not just hundreds of dollars. But no, thank you so much for being a part of this. I don't know who we're gonna rate. I'm gonna check who else is online now, because I was gonna let's rate Sam, and I was like, no, he's not online. Here. He's technically he's there. But yeah, we're gonna figure out. Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, I know exactly who we're gonna rate after this. I'm gonna throw it over to the wonderful people at Chapo Trap House. They have a wonderful interview with Adam Curtis, which I listened to this morning while I was playing some Rust. I might actually play Rust maybe for an hour this evening, but I won't be streaming it. I've been building a house in one of the servers that I'm a part of, and it's very fun. But yeah, for one final time, round of applause for Mr. SamSee, and a great WandaVision wrap up as we send you over to the wonderful people at Chapo. That was fantastic. That was really good. I'm just going to talk to you while we play music and throw over to the credits. There we go. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks for having me. That was fucking amazing. I really enjoyed that.
That's so good. Because I haven't really done this format before, but thank you so much for that fucking help with the oh, you don't have to look at that now. That's hang on. Wait, I don't want to disconnect. There we go. Stop streaming.